Oh, hello, and welcome to the STiKS, guys. I'm Fox, joined by Landon, Rage, and we have Goalie producing the show for us today, and every other episode you've seen of the show.
Wow.
Today, we're going to talk about Gfinity and such. We got lots of things that went on this weekend. FaZe, of course, took Gfinity with Optic Gaming in second place. Third place was, I'm going to cheat really quick and look at the document because it's Optic Nation and then Infused just underneath them. I didn't want to say Infused placed third because they didn't. But, yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about this weekend, guys. Let's go ahead and start off with our intros. Landon, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Landon, as you can probably guess. Air Landon is my caster analysis. Twitter is at Mr. Rostermania. I'm just being really specific right now. But no, I make YouTube videos. I stream occasionally. I guess you're like an esports analyst. I like to tweet out stuff that's going on during the match. Either people really like it or they're like, why is this guy tweeting so much? I don't know. I really enjoy it, but kind of like a person in the community, caster, like I said, video maker, streamer, all that kind of stuff. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right, Rage, introduce yourself.
Well, as you said, my alias in the gaming community is Rage. And yeah, I kind of do some stuff. You might have heard of a show, probably not, called the STiKS EU. I'm one of the two faces of that. And in my spare time, when I go to events, cast. So I actually just think about it. I think this is the only show we've ever had where it's been free casters who have been to events, right?
I guess so.
Hey!
Yeah, so.
Would you look at
Record
that?
broken.
Well,
breaking records every day.
Yes.
We're the what do you call it? The three
best friends that anyone could have. All right,
Exactly.
guys. So
That's
I am
perfect.
Fox. I'm a caster. I'm a YouTuber, live streamer here on MLG TV. MLG.TV/Fox is where I'm at on the daily. Thank you all for stopping by the show today. Hopefully we have a good one. We got lots of stuff to talk about today. And like I said, the main topic is going to be Gfinity and the results throughout this entire show. We got a little bit of stuff to talk about with the Black Ops 3 Esports reveal later on as well. You can follow along on the left side of your screen with all the topics and everything in order from start to finish. And I hope you enjoy the show. So, Landon, do you want to bring us into our Gfinity recap?
Well, I'm gonna do the question of the week first.
Yes, we should do that.
I'm gonna do the question because I personally like the question of the week is probably my favorite part of the show, just because it's like it can be whatever, and I come up with it. It's like it's my personal thing where I'm like, okay, I got all these questions. I'm gonna make this up. All right. So this is probably the most random question we've ever had, but I really liked it, and it is: if you could be any animal, it doesn't matter. Actually, you could be an insect
Easy.
if you want to. I just go balls to the walls. I could care less. If you could be any animal, what animal would you be, and why? And why?
I mean, Fox says it's easy. If he doesn't say the obvious,
didn't think about
then...
that.
I'd like to
And
be
then
a
I've
Landon.
got this easy as well because
I'd be really interested in being a Landon if I could.
It's a pretty.
That's-
I mean, it's housebroken pretty easily. I mean, as far as I know.
Not from what I hear.
Where do you hear that from?
I was about to say the same as like, who's been spreading these rumors about him?
Rage, what animal would you be, dude?
I'd 100% be a giraffe because I'm already like halfway to be a giraffe. I'm pretty tall.
I wrote that down. I wrote giraffe down.
It's crazy.
Well, I'm pretty tall. I'm pretty lanky already, so I'm already halfway there. You should have told me the question before show, and I would have like been in my giraffe onesie, and it would have been like totally like
I'm
amazing.
not gonna lie. I probably
Why do you have a
saved it
giraffe
an hour and a
onesie?
half ago.
Why do you not have a giraffe onesie?
What? Come on, dude.
I will donate you $5 if you get it right now.
No, please don't provoke me.
You put it on right now.
Make it $10.
I don't have $10 to give.
I'll put $5 in the pool.
Oh,
Willie said he's gonna put $5 in the pool. That's $10. Okay.
No, you see what you guys did? Oh my lord.
What
Okay,
we do
well,
here on the STiKS, man.
okay,
Wait, can
well,
What do you want to be, Fox?
If I got to choose, I'd be either a fox or a tiger, because they're cool as hell.
I'm not. Yeah, that was. I wrote. Okay, these are the three things that I personally wrote down. I wrote dog, maybe a giraffe, and maybe a tiger. So like,
Yeah.
I kind of like. You guys got both of mine. I think a dog would be cool. And let me know in the chat your guys' predictions, and also and if you guys are on YouTube too, put it in the comments what animal you guys would like to be. But I think a dog is pretty simple, but you have all the perks of like what a human does. Like, you're basically well off for what 12 years. That's how long dogs usually live for. Times 7.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math, but
That's a simple life too. If you think about it, as a
Pretty
dog,
simple.
you know, you don't really need too much. As long as you
Oh
make
my
it to the
God.
next, as long as you make it to the next day, you're all right. Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, but I don't have a fox or a tiger onesie, so I'm not exactly.
You look like a 5-year-old at a water park. You look like a little 5-year-old, like getting ready to go on a slide or something.
Don't care.
Okay, but okay, I'm gonna lay down mine animal. I would be a lion because you sleep all day and you just hunt, and you're the king of the freaking jungle. You're just a lion. Is that simple enough for anyone else?
That's a pretty solid pick. I'd say lions are pretty ferocious.
Well, yeah, a lion's probably like the go-to. Probably a lion or like a cat's probably a good shout as well because they just sleep, and like I like sleeping. I'm sure all of you like sleeping.
It's true. That's a good one. Cats are very athletic too.
Well, yeah, that's good. Obviously,
like 9 feet tall.
I'm the pinnacle of humankind right here, anyway. So,
oh man,
I'm really not.
All right, guys. On to the Gfinity recap. This weekend, if you did not get to catch it, it was a $100,000 tournament taking place in Europe. It was the largest EU COD tournament ever, and there were 16 teams playing. I'm going to go in order of top to bottom in the placements and everything. FaZe Clan are your champions. They're the ones that won $50,000. Optic Gaming placed second for $25,000. Optic Nation placing third for $10,000. And fourth, we have Team Infused. They made $5,000. And now we're going to go in through fifth/eighth. We have Vitality Storm, Epsilon EU, Envy, and Elevate all making $2,500, and the rest of the teams placing out of the money. TCM, Hyper Games, Rise Nation, Team Caliber, VWS, Spirit, Liquid, and IGI. So what do you guys think about these results? Any surprises? Any things that really kind of stand out to you?
Rage, you want to go first, or do you want to go?
I think, to be honest, everyone's going to have to at least give an honorable mention to Infused.
Of course.
You would throw out the EU team, wouldn't you?
I mean, to be honest, so, like,
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
Them and Vitality Storm are the ones that really stood out the most to me, just the way they played against everyone. I think who was it that Vitality Storm 3-0'd that I didn't expect them to 3-0. I should pull up the results here in the bracket, but they impressed me a ton, personally, Vitality Storm, and of course Infused, placing fourth above all the rest of their, EU brethren. That's pretty impressive.
Well, it's quite funny because going into the tournament from a European standpoint, a lot of the Europeans who I know and speak to always sort of said Infused be lucky to get out of their groups. A lot of them, especially after the roster change of Marky B being pretty much brought into the team about a week or 2 weeks before the event, a lot of people kind of wrote them off, expecting them to not get out of groups. So the fact that they placed fourth, it's so high in a tournament with like the top caliber teams, I think there 16 teams in attendance. It's really, really impressive. And again, it just shows potential for the team in the future.
Yeah, and I mean, Infused with that new pickup made it past Elevate that was coming with two fill-ins because Saints can't travel and TJ is not 18, so it's interesting that they made it past them.
I was personally like I thought it might be between Vitality Storm and Epsilon who would beat one of those two, and I actually asked Rage. I was like, are Vitality Storm really good, or are they just just a hype team? And he was like, they're a pretty good team, but they're not my favorite. And Infused.
Oh, you shouldn't say that. You just throw them underneath the bus.
Well, no. I mean, that's just true, though. Like, Vitality Storm wasn't, the best team at the event by any means, but everyone thought, I'm pretty sure everyone thought, as between Epsilon and Vitality, and Infused really surprised a lot of people. So, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. I was surprised by Infused's overall tournament run. And also, I have to say this, Optic Nation kind of surprised me, too. I had them in the 5th through 8th spot. Did not predict at all that they would be in 3rd. I'm just going to throw that out there. In 8 teams for life. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess Optic Nation sort of just, confirms that they might not be doing so hot in the NA Pro League, but they can still best a lot of the EU teams, which is what you would usually assume for any sort of NA team in the Pro League. But other teams that did not prove that this weekend would be Rise Nation and Team Caliber. I mean, I was surprised to see TK and Rise in the same grouping here in the end, 9th, 12th. I expected to at least see TK higher than Rise because Rise is obviously a very new roster. They've been, switching players every couple of weeks, it seems, since Prophecy disbanded and such, and we're looking at them placing near TK.
You said Rise, right?
Yeah, Rise. 9th through 12th.
They were my dark horse team coming into the tournament.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of I was like, they have a new team, like Apathy and Burns off to the squad, and I think that was definitely an upgrade for them, but apparently it wasn't enough. They started off pretty slow. I think they ended up winning their first game. I can't remember exactly, but obviously they beat one team. It was one of the 13th or 16th squads, but still, I thought Rise would do better. I really like Burns and App together. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the fact that they're two of my favorite players. I'm not really sure, but I thought that they might be able to add a little bit more to the Rise roster. But 9th through 12th is what you would normally project a Rise roster to be at. And I was kind of kind of sad about that.
Yeah, Rage, what are your thoughts?
Rise again. It's one of those teams what you wouldn't initially put in your top 4, your top 6. So I don't know. I feel as if they did well. Again, it's kind of nice to see Burns off doing well. It's always nice to see him on top teams again. So it's good, but again, they're obviously going to be expecting a higher placement. I'm sure they're going to be a little bit bummed by being kind of knocked out and being outplaced by some of these European teams. What everyone apparently just claims are just like bad in comparison to American teams. What's pretty true, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed in Team Cal. I mean, I didn't expect a lot out of Rise simply because it's a very new team and none of those players had been on there for a while except for Wheats and Chino. Apathy and Burns off, obviously very new to the roster. But TK, I expected TK to at least place in the money, top 8, something like that. But they are obviously not there right now.
And I know we had Neslo on the show. What was it, last week? Kind of in preparation for it, and he seemed
They sounded confident and prepared, right?
Yeah, I thought that they were. I'm not gonna lie. The only reason why I predicted them to be in the money was because of how we had Neslo on the show. He was like, we're really excited, and I actually watched Sharp's video. Like, I think he uploaded it maybe like a couple hours ago. After the event, he was just seemed really, really frustrated. Like, let's just get this out of our minds and focus on the next one. But it's like this is becoming a normal. Like, this is becoming like a normal placing for TK, which is not at all what I'm sure they're happy about. So I think if they place pretty bad the next couple of events, they might consider making a change, honestly.
But where do you see them making a change?
They're probably going to go back to, I don't know. TK has like this pool of players where they're like, okay, let's just we haven't had Gunjar on the squad in a while. Let's pick back up Gunjar. It's just like I feel like TK. Well, I liked him a lot, and I always hate on TK, and I hate when people say that I hate on them. But it's like I have so much faith and potential in them, and then whenever they pick up like a random player, like players that they've always had, it kind of just doesn't reign well with me, I guess.
Right. I get that. Thoughts on this style of bracket? Group play, the top 2 move on to the knockout stages, and the bottom 2 obviously do not move on. What do you guys think about this style? Me personally, I really enjoy it. You can take your pools and you sit and predict the outcome of each. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Rage takes a drink. I personally really like it also. I think it's personally it's better. I know there's like positives and negatives to every style of bracket you can make. But I like it a lot. The top 2 teams make it on, the bottom 2 teams don't, and then you just have a regular knockout stage, single elimination. If you're out, you're out. I'm not a big fan of having a team from the losers bracket come and then play against the winning team and then have them have to win 2 best-of-7s because it's already a massive disadvantage. While it is fun to see teams come back, I feel like for just about every single grand final we've had in AW, it's so fast because the team can't get past that first best-of-7 or that first best-of-5. And having it be a best-of-7 in the grand finals to me was just kind of like the icing on the cake. But I personally really, really like the style. It's always nice to see something a little bit different, in my opinion.
All right, Rage, your thoughts?
Being a European, we kind of like our tables and our graphs, so I really love it. I kind of like the aspect of the fact that no.
Why is that an exclusive thing to Europeans?
Well, I'm saying it's a European thing.
What kind of tables do you have?
We have a unique table system in the league, and so it's kind of like it falls onto that in the sense that you can technically have a draw, like a three-way draw, and I kind of like that because it makes things interesting. And as you mentioned before, Fox, you can kind of do your predictions before the actual event and predict like the group of death or who's going to make out the group. So it always makes it interesting, especially from like a spectator's point of view, because you feel involved. You say, for example, Optic's getting out this group. So and so Liquid Gaming was not going to get out of this group. So you can kind of predict it before it happens, and then obviously you can kind of assess your knowledge of the community by how right you are, how wrong you are.
Right.
So I really enjoy it.
And then you can see surprises. Like for me, I'm trying to find the exact surprise. TCM Gaming. I thought that I would have picked TCM over Optic Nation and Vitality in their group to come out on top, but I ended up being wrong. Vitality and Optic Nation proved that they belonged in this tournament and made it into the money in the end.
Yeah,
TCM's just the problem. I don't know, man. I love TCM, but it's just like I don't know what to think of them. I honestly love the combination of STiKS and Jerd together. I don't know why. I just always say this. I love the combination of them, and I had the pleasure of being in Dallas, and I heard one of the refs came to me after one of the games that they played. I believe it was against like Elevate, or it might have been VVV, and STiKS was yelling at Jerd. He was like, "Don't get hard point time. I just want you to slay them out." And Jerd ended up dropping a 50 bomb that game. I don't know what it is. It's just like the deviousness of STiKS, like coming toward not a young player, but like a really talented player in Jerd. I don't know. I just really like that connection. But I think TCM always has a problem for the fact that they just have a bunch of, I wouldn't say random, but they picked up two amazing players in previous games. Obviously, we know Aches and Teep aren't the best at Advanced Warfare, and I feel like they just picked them up just to have, and just to say that we have the best duo on our squad, I guess.
Right, yeah. For me, I picked that it would be TCM and either Optic Nation or Vitality that made it out, and I was surprised, just like you were. You know, you expect to see TCM doing better than what they are, but they are still not placing in the money. So we can move on a little bit further here. The 5th and 8th place. I don't know. We just spoke about that. My mistake, reading the wrong thing here. Len, do you want to lead us to the next section?
Oh yeah, we can. Well, actually, I want to talk really quickly about Envy. That was one of the teams, and I've seen a lot of people talk about Envy a lot too. They're like, why didn't they place very well? We actually had Tasmo on the show. What was it, 2 weeks ago? And we kind of talked to him about, or it might have been 3 weeks ago. I can't remember. Either way, we had Tasmo, the MVS's Call of Duty manager, on this on the STiKS a couple weeks ago, like I said, and he was really hype about his team. He was really excited to have them all in the house, kind of at the same time, and playing together, and working things out. And I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking this. Out of the 3 games that MVS played, they played OG, they played Hyper Games, and they played FaZe. They played the 2 best teams in the entire game, and the 2 teams in the best of the tournament. And it's like, well, they played Optic Gaming, they took them to Game 5, they played Hyper Games, I think they 3-0'd them, and then they played FaZe. It's just like, someone always is going to get screwed over in a bracket or in a tournament. And I think that just happened to be Envy for this event. I think Envy are a top team, but when you look at OG and FaZe, how high above they really are against everyone else, it's it's not just a mixture. It's just OG and FaZe always at the top, and it's Envy, depending on how they get put in the tournament, I guess.
Yeah, a bit unlucky.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit unlucky for Envious.
And then we also had to talk a little bit about Elevate, also plays 5th rate. I know we talked about them a little bit, but like you mentioned, combined with Denial for this event, roster was Classic and Slat and Classic from Elevate. I believe that TJ is not over 18 and Saints cannot travel out of the country. And Replays and Slasher from Denial. They also have, Hook and Temp, who aren't over 18 either. They started out pretty well. They started off, I believe, 6-0 and later met Infused, who they ended up losing to in a 3-2 fashion. So that kind of started off Infused's run, of which now we can talk about them, who placed 4th. I believe that roster is Quicker, LXT, Urban, and Marky B.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you a little bit about this team, Rage. Did you see anything out of the Gfinity Pro League that kind of signed that they would do well, or is it just kind of like a major surprise to everyone?
To be honest, the roster change came after the Gfinity Pro League, so it was actually on the last day of the Pro League. So Marky B still had to play his team, but I believe Infused, the 3 players, finished 3rd. Off the top of my head, I haven't got the stats in front of me, but I believe it's 3rd. So they played well, but they was overshadowed by Epsilon and Vitality, what was kind of like the tournament, because everyone kind of suspected Vitality and Epsilon to better them. Obviously, the roster change must have brought something to the team, whether it was just Marky B. But I feel as if Marky B actually had something to prove, because he's been dropped twice now. First of all, for TCM at the start. Well, to be honest, wasn't a drop. Like, he shouldn't have been released from that roster. Then he was on Millennium. That really didn't work out too well for him. And so he kind of always been dropped, and especially this Epsilon roster, where he was one of the better players in that team on his day. So the fact that he was dropped from MyCat, well, again, everyone would probably make that change because MyCat's such a strong player. But obviously Marky B has a lot to prove, and I feel as if he kind of knew that going into the tournament, so he played very well. LXT and Urban was kind of like a little bit of a duo. They played before in Barrage, I believe, at ESWC when they took down Optic, and Urban's kind of come through the ranks. He's one of these many European players who under the age of 18 who are very, very good. So he literally turned 18 and then straight away Infused made the roster change, picked him up, and as a result, it's worked out for them very, very well, apparently, according to the 4th place placing.
So you said Urban's under 18, is that right?
No, he just turned 18 about.
Oh, okay, because I thought LXT put on Twitter that he was under 18 also, I thought. But
LXT is around 19, 20, I think.
Oh, is he? Okay, I might have just read that wrong. I'm not sure, but like you said, really good team. I noticed, I went to COD _stats, if you guys want to check them out. We actually looked at their KDs. None of them actually had a positive KD in their overall. I was kind of surprised by that. I thought maybe LXT might have one. He had really good moments throughout the entire tournament. Urban was a really strong Bal that I thought would also have one as well. But they actually all had negative KD. So it just goes to show, every once in a while you'll see a really good team place well, and they aren't necessarily dominating in the slaying category, but doing just about everything else. But I believe I'm going to go ahead and go over to Optic Nation, who placed 3rd. I know we kind of talked about them a little bit. Definitely one of the biggest surprises of the tournament. Personally, I feel like they finally are nailing down their roles. They're getting down everything that they really want to. But I was going to ask you guys, did you guys have Optic Nation placing this high at all? Because I know I mentioned I had them in 5th through 8th. I didn't think that they were going to get any closer to the money than that. I didn't know if you guys had them any higher.
I'd say definitely not in the top 3, maybe 4th, somewhere between 4th and then 5th through 8th, but I definitely would not have placed them in the top 3. But really, I don't think this is telling of I think this is only really telling that Optic Nation isn't, like, they're not a bad team. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just sort of reaffirming that they're still better than the EU teams, and this is sort of proving that right here.
Rage's face, I love that. Rage kind of like raised his eyebrows a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not what you wanted to hear as a man from the EU, I imagine.
As a small giraffe, I'm sure you probably weren't.
I'm not a small giraffe.
Oh, you're a tall giraffe.
I am a tall giraffe. That's
how tall are you, Rage?
Good question. I don't know. Probably around 6'6", maybe.
Well,
jeez, dude.
So I might as well just pack my bags and go to a safari in Africa and like live with my giraffe family.
Still, about Optic Nation, I still feel as though they are.
Moved in subject.
I still feel as though they are this, stronger than the EU teams. I mean, who really gave them any issues at all this weekend besides Epsilon EU? It was 3-2 against them, but they still beat Infused, who placed higher than Epsilon EU, and arguably is the best EU tournament, or one of the best EU teams this entire tournament. They 3-1'd Infused. So I don't know. I don't really see anybody in the EU giving Optic Nation any problems anytime soon.
I think Moch also kind of not led them, but Miracles had a really strong event. I think he had like around a 1.11 KD, and Moch was one of the top KDs of the tournament, which we'll get to in a little bit, talking about a little bit about the Gfinity stats. But definitely really happy to see Owen doing so well. But that was the 3rd place team. It's now time to talk about the 1st and 2nd place team. But it was in 2nd, Optic Gaming. They did play a best of 7 in the grand finals, which I didn't actually know that was going to be a best of 7. I turned up and was watching actually I went to Cody Sportspedia. I know, shameless plug. And I was looking through the bracket, and I was like, "This is best of 7." I had no idea that it was going to be a best of 7. But to me, this was probably one of the most entertaining series that I've seen. Personally, I posted on Twitter. I said this is probably one of my favorite events of the entire year. I got roasted. I don't care, but in my opinion, it was probably one of the most fun or intense series to watch. They did play best of 7, and I think we're actually going to go over the maps if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
But map 1 was Solar Hardpoint, was 207 to 143. OG just really came out strong. I think Formal had a pretty good game 1. Kind of looked like it was going to go in OG's favor, especially with the first Hardpoint. Went on to Biolab Search and Destroy. Personally, I was like, this is phases to lose. They're a really good search team, but Biolab, it just happens to be Optic's map. They're really good and uplink at it, and they beat them 6-0. So them beating FaZe in one of their best game types, they're probably one of the best search teams we have in the entire game. Beating them like that, not letting them get around, I was like, well, this is going to be one of those other series. We're going to see a 4-0, 4-1.
That was their second S&D loss the whole tournament, right? Didn't Infuse take one off of them?
I think so. I think that Infuse took one, and then, like you mentioned, this one, Optic took one. So it's very hard to beat FaZe in search, especially not letting them get around, which kind of scared me a little bit.
Yeah, didn't Former go 10-1? I didn't get to watch this, by the way. I didn't get to watch the grand finals. I only got into the VODs of a few of the maps.
He died the final round. He died the final round. Yeah, he was 10-0.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I didn't even write that down. I was like, this is not looking good for FaZe. I was kind of worried. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I had a bet on FaZe, and I actually, I ended up winning it. But still, I was like, okay, well, there goes, my money at the.
Yeah, man. I still have to finish watching the VODs. I only got to follow along on Twitter because I was on the road during the grand finals, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I actually missed the first 2 games of the series. What's probably for the best, because by the sounds of things, they were the ones what were the least entertaining of the entire series. Because all I was seeing was my Twitter blowing up of just like Optic of just completely whitewashing FaZe in terms of scores. So I managed to catch the last 5 games, and wow, it was a very, very, very good final. I was kind of looking at it because I was playing Esports at the time. I saw the scores come through. So I seen 2-1. I was like, right, okay, now we've got a game in our hands, and it lived up to it. Every single final, I secretly wanted to go to a best of 7.
Oh, yeah.
Last map, Search and Destroy, round 11. Unfortunately, it wasn't around 11, but it was a very, very good final, and it was very entertaining as a viewer to watch it. So props to them. FaZe played fantastic to come back, especially to keep composure in those situations where the backs are against the wall.
Exactly. And I know for us, we're all commentators and stuff. You always want to see like the final game. You want to see the round 11, who's going to win it. But I didn't go to round 11, like we mentioned. It did go to game 7. But to the final 5 maps of the entire series, we did go over to Comeback Uplink, which actually went in favor of FaZe 12-4. I believe Enable went like 33-19. I think he had like 5 uplinks as well. So he absolutely went off for FaZe. Kind of being like the clutch player for that squad, or for the squad in that game. We later go on to Retreat Hardpoint. Went 201-186 in favor of Optic Gaming. So now they're only 1 win away from taking the Gfinity 100K. And Recovery Search and Destroy comes up. This to me was probably one of my favorite Search and Destroys in AW. Oh, I just hit my mic. In AW. Really, really fun game to watch. FaZe finally did win a Search and Destroy, and they ended up taking it to Game 6, which was Detroit Uplink. FaZe now forced a Game 7. It was 13-8 in favor of FaZe. And we head to Riot Search and Destroy. Riot is always a map where people either really like it or they really hate it. I personally am a fan of Riot. I like casting over it. It was very, very exciting. They actually lost connection after the first 2 rounds. It was 1-1, which made it even more intense. Like I was like, they're probably doing this just to mess with us, because I was already as nervous as I was. And like, we're just gonna head to a quick commercial break and talk about the game since players lost connection. But FaZe ended up winning 4 rounds straight and taking the Gfinity 100K 6-2 versus Optic Gaming. But I have to ask you guys, kind of going over the event. I know you guys watched most of the grand final, but is FaZe just having, good events, or just having lucky moments, or is OG playing bad? Is FaZe playing really well, or is Optic Gaming just not at their par, or is, FaZe just amazing? I just have to ask you guys that. I'm gonna start off with, Fox.
I don't think that FaZe is just getting lucky, considering they've done this twice and that they've shown they are, competition to Optic Gaming. I don't think that it's fair to say, to make excuses for Optic. They're just not winning right now. They're beating everybody else, but their next step is to beat FaZe. And can they do it? I'm sure they're capable of it, but they got 2 more events to prove it. We got UMG DC coming up, and you got World Finals coming up, and other events that may pop up randomly. But we have those 2, and they still have all the time in the world to prove it. But I don't think it's fair to say that FaZe is just getting lucky.
Right.
Something interesting about that series, by the way, was first map. I think you can pretty easily give that to Optic Gaming, right? Oh, hold on.
I think Fox might be having a smoke detector. Maybe possibly.
I think so. He pointed up to his ceiling, so I think that might be it. He doesn't look very happy about it.
We're going to see some firefighters coming through the windows, I'm sure, in about 20 seconds.
Rappel through the windows like a Rainbow Six mission. But yeah, to be honest, kind of just going to echo what Fox said. I don't think it's fate and lucky. There's a reason as to why they're consistently... I say consistently. There's a reason why for the last 2 events they've won. In terms of, is it Optic is it underprepared or whatever? But again, I don't think it's specifically that. I don't think it's specifically FaZe. I think it's a combination of every factor. So, maybe Optic got a little bit complacent in the last couple of months. Who knows? But again, I feel as if FaZe have a lot to prove because they're in the shadow of Optic. So whenever you come into an event being the underdog, so to speak, you're always gonna, strive harder in essence of wanting to better the person who you're underdog to. So FaZe fully deserves the title. I don't think it was lucky or a fluke or whatever. I think it's just, Optic had a bad day and FaZe didn't have a bad day.
I got it. But, I think this is definitely I feel like in every title that we have for every Call of Duty, there's always, one main rivalry. It kind of changes depending on how, you have the first semester, I guess you could say, of the game. These 2 are the best teams. You have the last semester of a game, I guess you could say. And for right now, it's definitely Optic Gaming and FaZe. You look at the 3rd place team, I guess you say, some of the 3rd or 4th teams who are, kind of arguably some of the best teams in the game, and they just outright demolish them. It's honestly pretty scary how good these 2 are above everyone else, and it's obviously made for a really entertaining series. But and I was going to ask you this, Rage, now that Fox is gone, but after losses to FaZe, and I feel like FaZe has really been Optic's kryptonite throughout the entire game, even though they're so good, they've been so dominant through AW. And I've been seeing this a lot on Twitter. Half the questions from Twitter were, should Optic make a roster change? Oh, Fox is interrupting me. God.
Is FaZe getting lucky, or is Optic just better? That was the question.
You already answered it, didn't you?
I don't know. Dude,
rude interruption.
I heard it. All right, so how it works in my house is it starts off on the 1st floor, and then it's like the sirens go off on the 2nd floor later on if it doesn't get stopped fast enough. So as I'm talking in the middle of my sentence, I'm like, oh my God, please don't go off. Please don't go off. But we're talking about...
Someone
Go
told
ahead.
you in the chat to stop, drop, and roll.
Well, there's no fire. It's just whenever someone opens
That's
the
what you
oven.
think. That's what you think.
No, whenever someone opens the oven in our house, if it's on, the fire detector's like right above the oven.
I'm
Unfortunately, so yeah, it's annoying. But
Well, here, Fox, I'll let you answer this really quickly. We kind of
Yeah.
agreed.
do we
that
move
FaZe
on? I
isn't
couldn't
just
hear,
lucky.
so
No, you're fine.
okay.
After losses to FaZe, and I've been getting a lot of questions on Twitter, people are asking, should Optic Gaming make a roster change? This was like 90% of my tweets. This is 90% of the questions from Twitter, which I didn't take any of them because we obviously are talking about them now. But should Optic Gaming make a roster change? Say they lose the next event. Should they make a roster change?
I don't think a roster change is necessary at all for like at least until Black Ops 3 comes out. I mean, you're taking a team that has consistently placed first, right? And now they're all of a sudden placing second, but they're placing second to only one single team, and no one else is giving them any trouble. I don't see the need for them to make any sort of a roster change. I made a video about this today, and like the title was like, "Should Optic Gaming make a roster change?" People were already like, "Why would you say that? Why would you?" I'm not saying that there was a question. The answer is no. Hell no. Why? Why would they make a roster change? Let's be real here. I don't think they need to make a change at all. There's no reason to. Right now, their only rival is FaZe. Realistically.
True. Rage, any thoughts about the Optic possible changes that people are saying could happen?
Well, at the end of the day, everyone on paper knows that Optic Gaming possibly is the strongest lineup of COD individual players being put together on this game. So realistically, you've got to ask the question, if a roster change was to come in, what player would be dropped? Because it wouldn't be Scump, because Scump is too heavily involved. He's a nade shot in the sense where he would never get dropped because he's too heavily branded, and because he's such a beast at this game. Formal, Crim6, they're in their own right. They're the best in the game. Karma, again, he's been playing very, very well. But if you look at that 4 players on that roster, I can only see Karma being the one player who would realistically be changed. But again, I really don't see it happening because they've lost 2 events. Previously, they was winning everything. They was winning everything and everything and everything. So for them to make an event for them to make a change is just stupid. However, if they are to make a change, get Swanee.
I mean,
just saying.
It'd be cool. I'm not gonna lie, but I think for everyone tweeting out, Optic should make a roster change. They've lost 2 events in a row. It's pretty stupid. I know. I get a lot of people always ask me like, why did you even ask that question? It's just because I always see what people are tweeting, and I want to like see how people in the chat answer to people on Twitter. Like it's just like a combination for me. Do I think the Optic should make a roster change? In the most possible, strongest way I can say it, no. Like that would be probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Now, if they start to lose event after event after event, so they plays terrible, then it's up for talk. Let's just be real. Like teams are very quickly to make changes, but they've been placing they won 4 events in a row or something like that, and then they've lost and to second. They've lost twice to FaZe in the grand finals. They are they're the 2 best teams in the game. Like if you were to look at a graph and you said, well, here are all the teams leading up to it, and Optic and FaZe are definitely higher above than everyone else. It's like who's gonna win the grand finals. Like I said to Rage, it's like the main rivalry of this game is those 2 teams together. So I think if anyone were to make a change, it would have to be later on. I do not see any teams making changes right now, and I wouldn't see any reason to make changes right now. I know Karma's always the guy on the hot spot. This guy didn't do very well this event. But when you have Formal, you have Scump, and you have Crim6, either one of them have capabilities of dropping a 40 bomb. You're not necessarily going to get a crazy amount of kills. You know what I mean?
Especially when you're playing on a map like Retreat or Solar. Either Formal or Scump will drop 50 kills. So you got to find some way in there to get your kills too. It's just kind of
going on to that.
I think Karma's just an easy scapegoat. It's not his fault.
Hypothetically, if Optic Gaming was to make a roster change, what player do you actually see coming into that team? Because you've got to look at the team. What are better than them? What's FaZe? So you're gonna presume that the roster is gonna come from FaZe. But then again, why would FaZe make the roster change if they're winning?
That's the thing.
Unless obviously other factors involved, being money and be it branding and so on and so forth. And looking at that FaZe roster, you got Clayster, Enable, Zoomer, and Attach. What player will fit in that Optic Gaming team hypothetically if Karma was dropped? So it's just leaving questions. I mean, a team of Scump, Formal, Crim6, and Clayster would be insane. But then
that's the choice that everyone would make. It's like, we want Clayster on the team. It's like, well, he's been
Clayster really, will Clayster really want to? Because he's kind of like out to get Optic in the sense that obviously the whole roster change thing, a lot of people thought it wasn't really needed. Obviously Clay came up with that brilliant that brilliant tweet about like throw me to the wolves and I'll come back the pack leader or something. That just
Well,
says
now
it
it's
already.
phase up.
Well, exactly. But still, the same thing is like you can tell from that tweet that he was obviously very, very upset with the roster change. So he's out for blood in the sense, and as you can tell by FaZe in the last 2 events, he's achieving it at the minute.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see a lot of these events coming up. You know, we have DC, especially we have the Worlds coming up, which I'm very, very excited about. You know, a couple of events remaining, which can kind of tell the story. You know, who's going to be the more stronger team. You know, as we head into these last events. But I'm going to ask you guys a couple of the final event questions. As how I kind of worded it. We saw a lot of coaches from I think just about every single European team had a coach. I want to ask you guys, what are the advantages to having a coach in COD, and is it really necessary? You know, does it really help your team out that much to have a coach in there? Because I've heard a lot of people say, well, they just count. You know, all they're going to say is 3 or 4 down. They're just going to get the guys hyped. Does that really play that much of a role? I'm going to ask Rage first.
Just to run it through, from what I believe, Infuse's coach was Cambo, who was actually a player for IGI. So IGI plays top 16 pretty much last. They didn't have a good event. So Cambo, who is quite a popular figure in the UK esports, he kind of decided to take up the mantle of being Infuse's coach. And to be honest, I don't really know much of him as a coach because he's more of a player. So I can't say I think he's a good coach or a bad coach. Vitality had Neo, who's like kind of their manager as well. He's actually French. So it's a little bit awkward as a language barrier. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward as a language barrier to have like a French guy standing behind a team of English people. But from what I've seen, I've never really met him in person, but Neo does strike me as a good coach. Then you've got Dinge, who is by far probably, at the minute, obviously, now Mr. X is out of the equation, probably the best coach there is in COD. I highly rate Dinge. Dinge is fantastic as a coach. So I really think he's a factor. When I've seen him at events, when I've seen him in the booth, be it at, you know, events I've attended or on stream, you can see him actually, you know, physically giving the players around him a boost, be it, you know, hyping them up, saying good plays, or be it him, obviously, as well, making calls out. He's more of a hype coach than he is a strategical coach, you know, telling when to rotate. But yeah, I really, really think Dinge is a factor. Neo and, well, you got to look at it on paper. You know, the Epsilon, all the European teams place top 8 or higher. Well, all the big ones place top 8 or higher. So you've got to really look at it in that way. Again, the American teams don't, and they do well without it. So I think it's just kind of one of those things where European teams, for whatever reason, just favour it, while American teams just, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see how coaches would affect the North American Pro League. I'd like to see, especially with all the team houses popping up and everything. And we got the NVT team house and the TK team house, whereas before we were just seeing Optic being the only team with the team house.
Right.
I'd love to see how that would affect our pro leagues. I noticed that a lot of the better EU teams that were beating our NA teams had coaches. You know, Dinge is the first one that stood out to me this whole weekend, and I thought that was interesting. I wonder if anyone really sees that as a problem. You know, it's like an unfair advantage.
I think if everyone has, like, it's not like, oh, you guys can have coaches but you can't. I don't like, personally,
it's just
like,
rough because the NA guys have been going through the whole game without coaches.
Oh yeah,
So
I understand.
You know what I mean,
Well, that's it. I mean,
you know, I don't care. I'm just wondering if anyone.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, if an NA team are told they're not allowed coaches, be it by MLG or be it by anything else, they said they're not allowed coaches, and then all of a sudden they come to a European event, and the European event Gfinity goes, yeah, you're allowed coaches. It's like, shoot, who do we get? Like, looking around the event going, do you want to be a coach? Do you want to be a coach? Do you want to be a coach? Like, you have no idea. So it's kind of pot luck, because obviously the only real coach who is a coach is Mr. X, and, well, we all know how good he was, but he's kind of taken his own venture into casting, and it's working well for him. So I really don't see him taking a step back from the limelight as being a caster to become a coach, because it's a step back in my eyes. So I don't really see him doing that. So unless, you know, we see some new talent, so to speak, of coaches come through, I really don't see any coaches come, unless you obviously Swizz, who's the TCM coach / manager, kind of
also
taking the first step in terms of America.
Yeah, it would also take, like, MLG saying, we're allowing coaches now. I feel like they would have to vocally, like, make that blog post and announce it. And, you know, tell all the players and team owners, yes, you can have a coach, and they are welcome at all of our sanctioned events and everything. So I think that's what it would take as well. Because I think what really sparked it off was, what was the event where coaches just weren't allowed all of a sudden? Do you remember the last NA event where they were just like, no coaches allowed? I don't remember which event it was specifically last
I
year.
remember it happening, but I don't rember like you said. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
exactly the
It
same.
happened after UGC Niagara. That's all I know.
UGC Niagara. Yeah.
You sure it was after?
It was after because Mr. X was coaching at UGC Niagara.
I think it's safe to say though is Mr.
Oh, of
X.
2014. Okay. Oh God, I don't know why I
Yeah,
thought it was
sorry, not
2014. No, you're okay. I did say last year. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, it was a while ago. So it would take for MLG to announce that. Do you guys think we need coaches? Do you think it's something that we should welcome into our community? Me personally, I would love to see it again, as long as these coaches are kept in check and they're not just glorified cheerleaders and they're not like screaming at people and yelling and berating the enemy team. I feel like if we're gonna have coaches, we should also maintain the competitive integrity.
I personally like the idea of coaches. If you don't want to use one, hey, you don't have to. But if you do, I think, and people always say, and I've heard this a lot, people just say, well, they're only good for calling out how many people are down. Well, not really. You need someone, see if the entire team's down, the coach is there to bring the morale up or make the guys hype in the booth. Do you have to have a coach? Not necessarily. I mean, would you like one? Sure. I mean, it's your personal approach to it, whether you need one or not. But I think the hype factor is always a big deal. You look at Black Ops 2 and you say, well, Mr. X was probably one of the most hypest coaches that you'll ever see. And he might have even led them to making comebacks. I always think of the comeback. I know OG fans hate this, but when Complexity came back, and it was like Mr. X was just yelling at them the entire time. You guys got this. You guys can come back. Like Krim got the 1 versus 3. They were absolutely screaming. Having that extra voice and having that extra person to, maybe fill in the the gaps that you might have in your team, I think would work really well. In Advanced Warfare, it might be a little bit harder because of the amount of things that are happening. It might be hard for a coach to keep up in some way. But having him focused on one specific topic, I think, would work really, really well for a lot of these teams and could maybe even give them some sort of advantage. I think personally.
I think it'd be really interesting to introduce to the scene. It would bring some new talent to esports and everything, and it open up a lot of opportunities. And we'd also be on par with other esports that allow coaches, such as League of Legends and CS:GO. Those teams have coaches and everything. These guys could have in-house analysts that sit, and their job is to study other teams, and they can all work it out together. It would just increase the level of competition. I would love to see coaches.
Well, that was exactly what I was going to say, is if you look at the bigger esports, they all have coaches in some way or another, be it analytical, so, break down play by play, or by the people who actually stand behind, hyping them up. I really like coaches. I like coaches in the sense that it looks better, personally. It looks better to see, like, one more person standing behind, keeping the team in check. But again, I think there's a thin line between, as Fox said, there's verbally just hurling abuse at the other team. That shouldn't happen, in my opinion. It doesn't look good. It just breathes negative connotations towards the community. If someone from CS or League of Legends or whatever esports looks into it and sees a coach just basically abusing another player, I don't think that should happen. But I really, really do want to see coaches like Dinge, like Neo, coming into the scene. And I know a lot of people who are trying to get into the scene in terms of coaches, but it's so hard because there's not enough opportunities, especially in Europe, to really coach a top team, because they know they can't have them in NA events. They know that pretty much coaches aren't a thing in NA events.
Right.
I apologize. Looks like Epsilon NA has announced a little bit of roster mania.
Wasn't
actually,
that about Swanee? I saw something in the chat.
Yeah,
I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, Swanee. I'm just going to say this right now. Swanee has announced that he will be stepping down from the Epsilon.NA roster. Epsilon will be looking for one. So that's pretty interesting. From what Remy said, he said he's stepping down for personal reasons. This is what Swanee's tweet reads. This is what his tweet says. Taking a step down from the Epsilon.NA roster, necessary short-term sacrifice to preserve my future aspirations as a competitor. So it might be personal reasons. Like I said, we always, wish, players like this who have personal obligations, the best. I hope Swanee can come back sooner. Hope nothing is, wrong, I guess you could say. But now that's going to leave an opportunity for, a possible battle to come out for, for this Epsilon roster. But I'm not trying to talk about roster changes a bunch or anything like that, but I definitely did not predict that to happen. But we all, give our best wishes to Swanee in some way, hoping that he can return soon. I know Alex is, very sad about this.
I'm emotionally distraught. Can we just end the show? Because I am
A little broken up about it.
We're done. we just end it in
I'm
the
not
middle.
very happy. I'm not very happy at all. Goalie is Swanee. I can't even speak now. Swanee is. I tweeted out. He basically is a national treasure for English and
I saw you tweet.
So it's like the fact that he's can't even speak. I'm just tearing up.
He'll be back.
Sad,
it's
man.
okay.
He'll be back soon. Don't worry.
I'll be back. We'll see him. There we go. See, it started. That whole thing I was talking about, how Swanee's going to join Optic Gaming. It's starting. Think positive. It's happening.
He's replacing Karma. Just kidding. It's not happening, guys.
no.
Karma's not being dropped, nor does he need to be dropped.
Swanee,
tell you what,
we pressed that issue enough.
Tell you what, how about on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I think that we're going to need to kind of reassess the whole situation. I think Rage needs to go maybe cry a little bit.
Makeup's running.
His makeup's running down. We're gonna have to fix that makeup. Can you guys come in really quick? But guys, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we return, gonna have some Gfinity stats and talk about some more other things from competitive Call of Duty. So we'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Bang. See ya.
Real broken.
Not a random plug, but feel free to follow my Twitter. I'll probably tweet out as soon as it happens.
Oh my god! Oh
wow.
my god!
You should follow my Twitter too at @optic_nadeshot.
Right.
I tweet out when I'm getting milkshakes.
You say he's getting milkshakes? That's interesting. But either way, guys, we are back. We're here to talk about some Gfinity stats, kind of ending our talk out on the Gfinity Summer Master Championship Extravaganza. I don't even know what you call it. But still, the EU has weird names for events. But regardless, some Gfinity stats going over the top 5 KDs for this event. Starting us off at the top 5 KDs is actually Replays with a 1.32, Octane in second with a 1.29, Slasher with a 1.25, and fourth it was Watson with a 1.23, and in fifth it was Mochila with a 1.22. Now I made a note. It said unfamiliar face in the top 5. Replays had the top KD of the entire event. Replays is known as a hardcore objective player. He's not known to get kills. And for this Elevate team, he showed that he can definitely get some. That's very, very impressive. He didn't just play a couple maps. They played at least 3 games. And he did a very good job at that. So I was very surprised to see Replays with 1.32. And also Slasher up there as well. Played for Elevate this event with a 1.25. So glad to see them up there in the top 5 KDs. But moving on to the top 5 Slayers, we had Scump with a 36.23 average kill, Apathy with a 35.32 in second, and third was Mochila with a 34.84, and fourth it was Madcat with a 34.71, and Neslo in fifth with a 34.65. Moving on to one of our final stats is actually the top 5 Search and Destroy KDs, which was actually Octane with a 1.96. That is a phenomenal Search and Destroy KD, almost averaging 2 KD. Very, very impressive. Looney in second with a 1.44. Neslo in third with a 1.44 as well. Miracles in fourth with a 1.44. So we actually had 3 players and 2, 3, and 4 with the same KDs. And Replays in fifth with a 1.41. So looking at that, a lot of familiar faces that we've seen in previous. Saw Neslo in there twice, and Replays in the top 5 overall KDs and also in Search and Destroy. So very impressive out of those guys. I also always make my own stats for FaZe, the team that usually wins. I'm going to talk about them just a little bit, kind of give a little bit of background information behind the team, how they won, why they won. But their overall KDs was Clayster with a 1.21, Enable with a 1.20, Attach with an even 1, and Zuma with a 1.16, making their team average to be a 1.14 KD. And FaZe ended up winning 2 events in a row. That's the first time they've ever done it, and it was very, very impressive. But I was going to ask you guys, did you guys see anyone that you expected to see on the list that you didn't see? Was there anyone that was kind of surprising to you that you normally see on that list that was not there at all?
Well, clearly, like you said, Replays being at the top at all is pretty crazy to me. And it's also important to note that he played the least amount of maps out of everybody on that list except for Slasher, because obviously they're on the same team, so they're tied. But, because Moch is actually down there. He played 20 maps as opposed to Replays 11, and Moch is at 1.22, and that's somebody you would normally expect to have a much higher KD than Replays.
Yeah,
he got knocked out a lot earlier in the tournament, so.
Yeah, I did not expect. Watching the tournament, I would have not known that. Like, it's usually I kind of have a feel for who's going to be at the highest amount of KDs, and I definitely not expect replays to be in the top 5 overall KDs, but I was very, very impressed to see him there. But we saw some regular faces. We saw Octane up there, who is normal, to be around there. We saw Moch, which I don't really normally see EU players just because there's not always EU players at these events. But nice to see those guys up there as well. We saw Mad Cat and obviously a couple others.
I really feel sorry for Watson. Like, he's, and that's saying it correctly because apparently the chat's having a go at you for not clearing it correctly. Apparently,
what did I say? I said Watson. Is that wrong?
I don't know. Apparently the chat says it's Watson or something. I don't know. That's how he said it.
Watson.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
chat. But yeah, I really look like an idiot. But I'm going to take this off in a minute. But,
all right. All right.
I just looked back. I just looked back at myself on the webcam. I was like, oh no. But yeah, Watson. I really feel bad for him because he hasn't won an event, and he's like the only real top player in Europe who hasn't won an event, and it's kind of like one of those things what's now over his head every event. So every event he just always seems to choke. Be it Amity Pro, what was a couple of weeks ago now, where he placed poorly. I think it was like top 16 or top 12. So he always goes into the events as a favourite. He's always putting up numbers, but for whatever reason, be it bracket or be it the fact that another teammate didn't perform, or be it the fact that he didn't perform, for whatever reason, he's never winning an event. And it's one of those things what I know he's annoyed about it. A lot of other pro players in Europe kind of give him a little bit of banter about it, and I feel sorry for him. But again, if he's ranked 4th in total of top KDs, then he must be doing something right individually. That's what I'm saying.
So you're gonna point out there, but what? I'm sorry. I don't know if I said it wrong. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Chat,
I didn't pick up. So it probably was just. I think it's the chat.
It doesn't really. We know what you mean.
Hashtag the Watson curse.
The Watson curse.
You can't win.
Did we just start a hashtag?
I did. You didn't. Don't take the credit.
Okay. Well, on that note, I'm gonna go and move on to one of our final topics, talking about Black Ops 3 Esports reveal. Whenever they announced this, I don't want to say I screamed, but I was very, very excited. I was like, yeah, like I can't explain to my excitement, but it was very high. Let's just say that I yelled like Rage does after he kills someone in Call of Duty. I was very excited. But Black Ops 3 Esports reveal. It's literally all about esports. It's actually happening August 5th at 7 p.m. Is that Central Standard Time, Gully? Is it 7 Eastern or is it 7 Central?
It's 7 Eastern. Or 7 Central. What in the world? Why does it say it like that? 7 p.m. CEST. I guess it's Central, right? Is that how that works?
Is that an EU thing?
Don't ask me.
I feel like this is something we should know, and it's just going over all of our heads.
That's an Eastern European time, boys.
Central European Summertime. That's what it stands
for.
Oh,
because it's in Germany. Yeah, okay, that's why.
Well, I think it's supposed to be a German time zone if it's hosted in Germany.
Either way, if you're from Germany, it's happening at 7 your time. Our time, we have no idea. That's just... I thought that it was 7 Central. I was just like, maybe that's just a random way to put it.
I think, actually, the way it works is it's an hour ahead of BST, what's my time zone, so all of...
It's going to be 1 p.m. for us.
So it's...
1 p.m.?
So at the minute, yeah. Whatever time zone it is for you in terms of my time zone, so whatever the difference between BST and your time zone, add an extra hour on.
I think I'm 5 hours. I'm Central Time, so I think I'm 5 hours behind you.
So it'll be 6 hours difference.
Why is this so difficult right now, bro?
Why can't we not just have like one universal time zone?
Okay, guys, just hold on. I'm getting a time converter. Okay.
Billy's getting the time converter. Thank you.
I'm speaking to the stream. Don't worry, Landon. You don't have to repeat every word I say. Dang it.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't know if when you're talking to them or not.
This is hilarious.
But yeah, I can always remember when I travel to like Eastern Europe, it's always
I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern, guys.
Yeah, so it'd be 12 Central, 11 Mountain Time, and 10 Pacific. There we go. I think did we just figure that out? Did we do it by ourselves?
Yeah, sure. You know what? It doesn't matter. You can look it up if we're wrong. But I'm pretty sure that's the right time.
It's this thing called the internet, guys.
Okay, Arsenal in the chat is correct. It is 1 p.m. EDT or noon CDT for you guys over here in the US.
Nice. Way to go, Arsenal. Shout out to Arsenal. Believe they're a football club.
You're just rubbing it in them. I already said it twice that it was 1 EST or 1 Eastern.
Well, I was just shouting out the man. I'm shouting the man.
Just give me a cookie and a pat on the back, Lynn. That's all I'm asking for, dude.
All right, I'm gonna give you a virtual cookie.
Also,
and
while we're shouting out Arsenal, shout out in the Community Shield last weekend. Good job. Played very well.
Cool. Call of Duty Esports. Black Ops.
No one understands football references. Damn it! I forgot
understand
you were
football references. I
ESL's
watched
been
it.
hosting the event just like they have every year. It's nothing
I'm
new.
so
They
excited.
did it for Black Ops 2. They did it for Advanced Warfare. ESL always puts on a great show with all of their production. I'm excited to see it. We got some players that are going to be attending. Also, something to note is that when they announced this, they deleted all their tweets and the article that they had on their website for it, which is kind of confusing. Don't know what that's about. Hopefully, nothing has gone wrong, and I don't know. I don't know why they would do that, but that's weird. Anyways, the players they invited to represent all world class players, how they titled them. From America, we have Censor, TP, and Merc. Right? We have Buzzo coming from Australia. We have Tommy, the most well-known EU player. We have Kiwi. Am I pronouncing that right? It's Kivi, but it could be stylized and be Kiwi. We have Gotagos, the most. He's a very popular French player. I've heard someone compare him to be like the Nade Shot of France or something. And we have Flex. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that properly, but he is a well-known Spanish player.
I believe that is all correct, yes. Gotaga, the French monster, as you can say. I'm really happy that they have players from like all around the world, kind of like in the spectrum. It's not just NA players, it's not just EU players. It's we have we have the Australian community, we have the French community, we have the EU community, we also have the NA community, and also the Australian. Like I'm not sure if I said that already, but either way, having from all around the world, I'm really happy to see that go down. But yeah, I'm glad to have the lineup that we have.
I'm surprised that we're not seeing Scump or something like nobody from Optic, not one person from Optic is going to be representing themselves. I don't know. I just found that weird. Like I'm happy that we reached out to more than one avenue, but it's just I'm just not used to it as a COD Esports fan. We don't often see that.
And you have two players who aren't really playing right now. Like Censor isn't actually playing he's not on a team. Merc isn't really playing either. Teep's the only person who's actually on a squad. It's
right. So if they invited Censor, it's just as likely they could have invited Nade Shot or.
Don't say his name. No, I'm just kidding. don't freak me out like that. I'm just joking.
It's cool though. I'm excited to see how Merc's opinion and TP's opinion and Censor's opinion for NA. That'd be cool.
Yeah, Teep's a very he's a very knowledgeable player. I'm really happy that he's there. Also,
veteran too.
Very all humble guys. I'm really happy to see all these guys.
Yeah,
there.
It is basically just a compilation of 8 nice guys, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard good things from Buzzo, or good things about Buzzo and Kivi, in the sense from the Australian community, obviously. Yeah. I'm not Australian, in case you can't tell, so I don't really have... Mind blown! No, but obviously I don't really get the chance to speak to them, but I've seen Buzzo's YouTube videos. He seems like a nice guy, so it's nice that it kind of is basically a team of nice guys. Merc obviously is known for being a down-to-earth nice guy, same as Censor and TP. And then Tommy as well, he's basically just
okay. I'm gonna
British
cut in.
Esports.
Isn't Kiwi from Austria and not Australia?
Well, I was thinking that because he's.
It says AUS.
He's part of the FABE roster. I was thinking, but then I thought, no, I'm just gonna read the document. I'm not gonna chip in.
I just put AUS
because he used to play for FABE, right? Kivi. I used to have notes about him. He went to the Black Ops 2 Championships. I think no, it was Ghost Championships last year. And he was a new because he just turned 18, I think. I should probably read my notes, what I have somewhere.
So I'm the person that makes the documents for the record. It said AUS player for both of them. So technically it's true. So I wasn't necessarily wrong.
All right, awesome.
Australia, Austria.
It should be a cool event, though. They're going to have actual track reps come out. Like David Vonderhaar is going to be coming out and making his appearance. I love hearing David Vonderhaar talk about this game. Really I don't know if I'm the only one in this call, but hearing him speak about Call of Duty is like, it's like how everybody was so hyped about seeing Gavin on stage at the international. Gavin.
Oh my.
Gavin at the international today. Like it's the same thing for me. I really respect David Vonderhaar.
Right.
And we got Maven and X casting too, so that's cool.
He plays for FABE, so I was right. What's always good to know, considering I'm supposed to be like the European guy.
Europe.
So what things are you guys looking forward to seeing at the briefing? Rage?
I'm just looking forward to see how, obviously, from that roster, you're going to suspect that they're going to be esports focused. Obviously, it's ESL, so it is going to be esports focused. I'm just going to see how much assets to actually drive into esports, because Black Ops 2 is kind of known for being the game what skyrocketed esports into the stage where it was now. Obviously, before that, it was Modern Warfare 3, what was played by Europeans, not played by Americans for whatever reason. So, obviously, Black Ops 2 was kind of the one what centralized it. It was a massive game changer in the terms of, obviously, esports in general for COD. So I really want to see what they're going to do this year, because to be honest, everyone's been saying it's been getting a little bit stale. You know, Ghost and Advanced Warfare hasn't really been the best years in terms of esports in growth. So I really just want to see what they're offering, you know, be it ranked play or be it events by the actual publisher. I don't know. I don't want to say anything because I know if I say it and get excited about it, it's just then not going to happen and I'm going to cry. So I really just keep my mouth shut. I don't want to jinx it, and then just hope that all my dreams come true.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm excited about that too. Just like you said, like all the stuff they announced. Hopefully, it's different from the last year. It always is. You know, there's always some new big thing that they bring on board. And then what's even cooler is later on throughout the year, more stuff happens that we didn't even know about beforehand. Nobody would have expected at the Advanced Warfare briefing that we'd finally be seeing DLC. We all wanted it, but we didn't know we'd see it. Now we're seeing Denial and Optic Gaming in the game. Landon, what are you most excited to see at this briefing?
You know, kind of adding on to what Rage said, you know, just seeing a new game, especially a game that's known in the competitive history as one of the best titles for esports of all time, Black Ops 2. Really excited to see that. I'm also excited to see the man David Vonderhaar. Every time I see him, my face just lights up like a little schoolgirl on her first day of school. I'm just very excited to see David Vonderhaar, you know, kind of talk about the game, especially esports, because, you know, in one of his mentions when they were kind of going over it at E3, he was like, you know, we have esports in the back of our mind. We're not throwing away the community. We'll be going and talking about that in a few months. And now that we're finally here, it's just he kept his word. It's like, yeah, like yes, like I'm just really excited.
It really makes me laugh because David Vonderhaar was like hated in Black Ops 2. Like he was literally like, because he's the face of the company, so he was hated. He was getting death threats from a lot of our community. And as soon as Ghost, and then the end of the game, everyone was like, hang on a minute, this guy was actually pretty good. And now it's like he's coming back like the prodigal son who's like returning to his city. It's like, oh my god,
who remembers 402? Who remembers 402?
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay.
Do you guys not really? I've lost faith in Rage and Fox. Okay.
I said yes.
Oh,
I said yes.
Oh, okay.
My brain's fried right now.
I've lost faith in Fox stream.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, Fox.
Why don't we use words, guys, in which to communicate?
402 was also a community manager, basically. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to move on a little bit, and we're all just hating on Fox. I'm just kidding. We all have to hate on someone eventually.
I was going to say the reason I think he got a lot of the hate is because he is a designer and he's also a community manager. So there's two reasons for your random internet trolls to hate you. All packed into one person and one Twitter feed. You know what I mean? So
as soon as you have the face of the company, you know, as soon as you have the person who is there on stage with the microphone, he, no matter what, even if he's just an external person who has nothing to do with the game, he's just there as the face of the company, he's still going to be the person who gets the abuse. So
it's true. He's the main face, right?
Yeah, he's the main face. So he's the face what everyone associates with the company. So even if he doesn't touch the game at all, he's always going to be the one who gets the abuse, gets the feedback, even if he has a say in it or not. So it is a bit of a risk when every time you like take that step. But it now, obviously, Vonderhaar went from being hated to the point where people was asking him to resign to the point where now he's like, he's being like praised as a king.
He's like our Gaben, basically.
He is the king, yeah, exactly.
Not Gavin.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to move on to one of the last two questions about this topic. I was going to ask you guys, if you could guarantee one thing from Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, what would it be and why? It could be esports related. It doesn't have to be, but I would prefer it to be esports related. So I'm kind of like giving you a little bit of leadway. So if you could make one thing be in Black Ops 3 that was already in Black Ops 2, what would it be and why? Now, you can kind of like say, well, you would kind of guarantee stuff like the Codcast mode is going to be definite. But I'm going to go and list mine really quickly while you guys think of yours. Personally, I want to see some sort of customization in the game where you can differentiate players from other teams. So, for instance, that could mean, you know, like in this game we have Optic Exos, we have Denial Exos, which actually was released at Gfinity. I want to have some sort of difference. Like, I want the players to stand out. You're watching TI5, the Dota 2 tournament. You know, they have actually like things in the map that have to do with the teams playing. I want to see stuff like that. I want to see you know, a team having like a certain gun or a certain camo, a Denial camo or an Optic camo, something like that. I think that would be really, really cool to see in the game and kind of differentiate players. You know, that's Scump's camo, or you know, just this and that. I think that'd be really interesting to see. So a lot of customization that kind of focuses on esports. You know, even having the teams at the top, like in the game, not having to make a custom graphic. Something like that. So some customization, I guess you could say. But whoever wants to go next, what one thing If you could guarantee anything in Black Ops 3 from Black Ops 2, what would it be and why?
I kind of want to avoid saying things like league play and such because we already know. Like, you can pretty much assume that's just going to be there. They're not going to, it's here to stay, right? I think I guess Infinity Ward is the only developer so far to deviate from that, but it's here to stay, guys. I promise. I can tell you that right now. But one thing I'm looking forward to coming back that I saw in Black Ops 2 was just fun. Just being able to play this game for hours on end without like getting tired or getting frustrated with like just annoying mechanics or annoying bugs and glitches in the game. Of course, in Black Ops 2, I'm not going to sit here and pretend it was perfect. My only issue in Black Ops 2 was the hit reg and everything, and hopefully we have that ironed out now, or at least improved in Black Ops 3. But I just want to be able to play the game forever and not get frustrated by dumb mechanics that I don't enjoy. Like I don't really enjoy using the exo abilities for long periods of time. I think it's sort of exhausting and feels like more of a grind. So in Black Ops 3, I just want to be able to play for hours and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've written a bit of a list because I was thinking to myself, like, I was like, I'm going to be last. I know I'm going to miss something. So, top of the list is the M8A1. I just love that gun. I want it back in some way or another. I just want to. I want to be able to just like 2-bullet someone. I'd be like, I want to feel good. So give me a gun what allows me to feel good. Then you said what one thing I want to see from Black Ops 2 to Black Ops 3, Cole. I want to see Cole. I just want to see Cole. I was a massive Cole fanboy back in the day, so I want to see that roster coming together with Mr. X standing behind them. Again, like you said, Landon, I want to see sort of like a skins, sort of if you want to copy CSGO and Exos. I don't really know what they're doing in terms of that, but I want to see some customization, esports focus. I don't want to see, a gold gun or a pink gun or a blue gun. I want to see an optic livery of a gun or an Epsilon or a Vitality or any esports team. I want to see that there. So, I can be in the game, I can see someone with an Epsilon skin or an optic skin and be like, associate them with that and go, oh, they're an Epsilon fan. Oh, they're a FaZe fan. Oh, they're a Rise fan, I want to have that. Obviously ranked on the list, but that's kind of an obvious. Everyone wants that. And one thing I was also thinking about is like skins. You said a little bit of customization. The only thing I was really thinking about that being on the map is maybe in a search and destroy tournament, you have an optic, like for example, if it's optic versus FaZe, in each spawn you have a FaZe logo or an optic logo on the wall. That would be pretty neat to see, but I don't really know how they're going to be able to do that. I'm not an expert, as you can probably tell, otherwise I might be working and I want S&D to be fun again, most importantly. I want S&D to be enjoying, because I love S&D. I love casting S&D. I love playing S&D. So I want that to be fun again, because Advanced Warfare, I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it to a specific thing, but it just doesn't seem fun to me. I don't enjoy it as much as I do. I mean, I still think it's one of my favorite game modes to play and watch, but it's still not as good as it used to be, and it's a little bit disheartening. And I pray every night that it's going to be amazing again.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing we want is just that a completely competitive an amazingly competitive experience. Can't be completely competitive, obviously, it's Call of Duty, but I want it to be as competitive as possible and just as much fun as possible. I want it to be something that I can do for hours on end without annoying issues over and over again. I wanted to, grind S&D matches on GB and Ghosts, because that was really the only game mode that I enjoyed, but the bomb glitch happened, and I couldn't do that anymore, so I couldn't even experience, I just don't want things like that, recurring issues in my game. That's what I'm most excited for.
I just don't want noob tubes either. Like Modern Warfare 2 noob tubes. Like
I don't think that's ever going to be a problem again.
I don't know why, but you could literally play that noob tube sound again, like the fire sound again, and I would like shiver in my chair, just like flash, just being like.
We're all conditioned, bro.
It's like post-traumatic stress. As soon as I hear like a noob tube fire, I'm like, like expecting danger close and like one man army. It's horrible.
I feel like you could use that as like a punishment for someone. You just have like a
just
press a button. Doom, doom.
Every time, just like quickly run and just put your controller down and just hope that you're not getting hit by one.
For me, dude, it's the crack of the intervention, man. In Modern Warfare 2, I hate scope. You hear that? Psh, I'm like, oh.
Or even
my God, stop.
Still have nightmares about it.
Nightmares, man.
Or the javelin before that got patched. That was.
Did that ever get patched? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, that's just took forever.
Oh man, dude,
that was bad. Or that rock glitch too.
Glitches to abuse.
Yeah, the care package glitch where like you got unlimited care packages on Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
That was I used to really enjoy that, because like I used to be like, okay, let's just get an emergency airdrop and just call down unlimited like care packages. Yeah, but dude, then it was fun, but then obviously you kind of felt a little bit dirty, because you're like, I've just done this, and like I've got a free AC-130 by getting 8 kills.
Dude, there's so many things like for as much as we enjoyed Modern Warfare 2, there's so many things wrong with the game. Can we talk about Commando and the whole care package abuse thing where you just run around with the care package? You
I
can
don't
just
know why
neg-
death streaks was ever a thing. Just want to point that
Death
out.
streaks. What?
Mine at Esports has literally.
This guy sucks. Let's give him more health. Great
Mine
idea.
Mine at Esports in the chat has
Right?
literally like summed it up. He goes, Rage wakes up every morning, turns on his Xbox, starts up search, checks if it's changed, finds out it hasn't, turns it off, and goes to bed. That's basically every morning. I get up at like the crack of dawn, like the birds are chiming, turn on my Xbox, loads up, gets.
Sorry, mate, we lost you.
Is your mic muted? I feel like you went muted.
Oh, I accidentally hit the mute mic.
Okay, I was gonna say yeah.
Oh, praise. Okay, drop the
Yeah.
subject. I'm not going there.
Yeah,
No, but I want to touch on something really quickly that you mentioned. Search and destroy. Like, I really miss search and destroy. It really ticks me off. I said really like 20 times there, but I miss it a lot because oftentimes whenever you're casting, you'll see bomb planted once, defuse happened once. Like, I miss seeing the bomb plant. Like, it was weird if you didn't get the bomb down. Like, it was weird if you were on offense and the bomb didn't get planted. Like, I miss those really close situations, the sneak defuses that we see a lot of the time. Just don't feel the same. And when you can EXO to the bomb in like 4 seconds, it's like, I don't know. I just miss.
Bomb.
it's because
I'm going to take the subject back and go back to Gfinity and go back to the whole Epsilon situation. I know it's
right, we glossed right over that.
We glossed right over it, exactly, and I just realised, like, we haven't spoke about that, and that's kind of a controversial thing about the event. Probably the only controversial thing, or the one bad mark, so to speak, on Gfinity, because everything else about the tournament was pretty much flawless, in terms of production, in terms of how the event was run, in terms of how the teams got there. Every single factor, what makes an event good. The fact that there wasn't ads 24/7. I don't think I actually got an ad once. So it was just like, round of applause for Gfinity. But the one thing what's obviously going to be a factor is the whole situation with Epsilon and Optic Nation, was it?
Yes,
it was Optic Nation. Yes,
right.
Because Moach was saying he just knew.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And obviously, what that was, just to refresh, was it was a 4-2. It was 4-2, search and destroy, and the bomb was down, and an Epsilon player, I don't know, 'cause I didn't actually watch it. I think
it was Joe, but
I opened up Twitter and I was like, oh no. Like, I had to see it instantly, just like refresh. But it was 4-2. Joe, apparently, according to Landon, goes for the ninja defuse, and apparently there's different stories, but for whatever reason, the Optic Nation players were alerted to the fact that he was going for the ninja defuse, checked it, and then obviously stopped it down, and then made it 5-2. Well, obviously, you could say if they're 5-2 up, there's a good chance that it's going to win the search and destroy, but you can't counter that 4-3 is a lot better than 5-2, because 4-3 opens up. It's much better in terms of mentally, in terms of the team what's down. So there's a lot of different factors. I really do feel sorry for Epsilon, the fact that they got knocked out on such a sour note. I feel as if, obviously they are a good team. There's a team of nice people, I get on really well, are really rated. So I really am disappointed that they lost that way, and it's just like, it's a little bit of controversy, because again, other than that, Gfinity basically did very well.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of issues like that mess with their competitive integrity. Like if you look at the CS:GO scene, they have similar issues where if you throw a flashbang at someone, your screen is all white if you're flashed, so it appears on your face to anyone nearby. Your face is just that flushed immediately of color. So what some people will do is they'll throw a flash, check an area, they'll look over at their enemy's face just for that brief moment that the flash goes off, and if the screen is white, I flashed him, he's there. And in a game where your location and whether or not they know you're there or not is such an important thing. Things like that cannot happen. Just like we cannot have our casters, our players be able to hear our casters while they're playing. I guess it would also. I know Brycey has actually. I think I like what he did. He just won't even cast over top of that person defusing, so that he doesn't get the crowd hyped up, and so that he himself avoids talking about it. I think that's a great thing to do, but it should also be rigged by your sound engineers for the event and the production crew to make sure that things cannot be heard in the booth and around and everything. Just do your best,
I've obviously been fortunate enough to cast with Brycey, and he taught me basically the first time I cast with him. I was 53. He was basically told me, this is what I do in terms of an event. This is what I think works. And it's just what you said. It's like if someone's going for a ninja defuse, he would flick towards it, So obviously the stream knows, he knows that it's doing. And then he would switch to, say, for example, if it's a 1v1, he would flip to the attacking team. And he would only mention, it's like, they're going for the ninja defuse now, but let's see how he handles this in that term. So it's not just you're watching the countdown down. But again, it's just tips you learn. Obviously, Courage is still pretty new to it. That's the person who I believe, again, I wasn't watching it, but I believe he was the person who kind of took a lot of the flack. I like Courage. He's a great caster. So I just think it was just one of those things where pretty much 50% of the casters would have done it, 50% of the casters would have done it.
Yeah, I think it was just an honest
mistake. It was an honest mistake. That's the best way to put it. And again, a lot of people, I think Deserter even tweeted that it wasn't actually the casters, it was more of the crowd. The fact that obviously in Gfinity it's in a cinema, so the players are looking literally behind their monitors is a whole row of just basically just spectators after spectators after spectators. So, a lot of people were saying it might have been the spectators, getting hyped or jumping around or waving their hands or whatever it might have been. That was the factor, not the caster. But again, I wasn't there. I haven't spoken to any of the players yet about it, so I can't really say what was the defining factor. Or maybe it was just a combination of both.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is really just turn the players around. Just don't have them face the audience,
Exactly.
You can still see the players, and you don't have to cover them up with posters or something.
Wouldn't that have a coach's dispatch? I've been to events personally. I'm not going to name names, but I've been to events where, say, for example, a caster is saying so-and-so is going for the ninja defuse, and because the coach can hear it, because obviously the players have the headsets on, the coach usually has the headset like that, so there's one ear cup open. They can hear it, and then obviously they can react by going, go check bomb, or he's ninja defusing. So again, that kind of touches back on the aspect, especially at open events, because usually if it's in a booth, it's usually in a controlled environment. So, a lot of them are soundproof, or at least they reduced the sound coming into the booth, apparently, according to Epson. They weren't soundproof.
Yeah, the rule though is gosh, I'm so sorry I misspoke there. They could just have a rule that, hey, you have to have your headset on at all times as a coach. Just, things like I said before, we can have coaches as long as they're kept in check, so that things are fair. Just like back in the Halo days, what they would have is they would have the monitors. This is before soundproof booths, by the way. They would have the monitors of the enemy team's gameplay right up and behind your head. And if you turned around, you got punished for it. I think Walshy did it at one point. They made him put his controller down for a minute straight, which is still in our rules. If any sort of cheating, you get timeouts and stuff like that. So you can just say you can't turn around and you got to keep your headset on. Problem solved, right?
Yeah, I didn't know about that because I wasn't around the Halo days. So it's always good to know kind of where rules come from and where the history behind it. So the more you know with Fox.
I've just been watching esports. I'm a huge esports fan, man. I've just been watching it for so long.
I agree. Right. I'm sorry, I was lost. I was staring off the distance.
Yeah, I was like, Landon, wake up, wake up.
I gotcha, but just speaking on it really, really quickly. Talking about it personally, I'm not a big fan of people blaming the casters for it. Should the casters be quiet? Yeah. Should they know that? Yeah, being a caster, you usually be quiet, but in a sense, I understand the fact where you shouldn't have to be quiet because the soundproof booths, which they claim to be soundproof, aren't actually. But things like that are going to happen. You just have to prepare for them, and I think no one should really be blamed. It's an unfortunate event, and we just have to learn from it and move on. But moving on, we're not just going to have to move on in the show, and I think we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to answer some questions from Twitter. So, guys, we'll see you guys in just a second. Like I said, questions from Twitter are coming, and we'll see you guys on the other side of I believe, 60 seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to the STiKS Live. We just got better because Fox is no longer here. No, I'm just kidding. We're talking about Fox behind his back. No, I don't do that. Just kidding. I believe Fox had something to attend to, so me and Rage are going to answer you guys' questions from Twitter. Rage, are you ready? Are you ready for the question from Twitter?
I'm a little bit nervous. I feel as if now we're kind of on a game show, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I think that's probably a thing.
We could offer you money for every question that you answer right, even though there's not actually a right answer.
I am incredibly down for that. I mean, I probably answer no questions right, but it's taking part counts. At least that's what I was always told. Because
I'm imagining the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire sound, and then the yeah, it's perfect. It's like, all right, for $5. No, it's not actually. But unfortunately, we can't award money here. We're the STiKS, not the STiKS. In that case, I quit.
I'm joking.
I saw someone put that in the chat, is why I took it. But we're going to answer you guys' question from Twitter. Every time I post on Twitter, I believe the STiKS does too, we'll say list your questions here if you guys ever want to. we take a good amount of the questions and we answer them on the show. So if you guys ever see that happening, if you're ever on Twitter, make sure to follow us at the STiKS Live, and you guys can see us post that. I'm not shutting up my own Twitter, but you can also do that as well. I tweet out from there also. So starting off with the first question, which is coming from Evan. His at is Almighty815. Very clever, Evan Almighty. Either way, he asks, what hashtag rostermania do you see happening, if any? Now, I guess we can kind of say you can maybe take the EU and I could take the NA.
Okay.
Does that work?
That works perfectly because I mean, there's only about 3 or 4 EU teams who I can see making roster changes. So I get easy. So I'm
gonna say Epsilon NA. Hey.
Oh.
Maybe.
Well, a lot of people
in
the chat were speculating, obviously, with that Swanee roster mania. What I'm going to come on later. A lot of people were speculating: do we see Watson step up to the plate? Because Watson's been one of those players what is getting a lot of limelight, especially since champs. He's been one of these players who everyone's like, hang on a minute, this Watson guy's actually quite good compared to obviously he wasn't really known before that. So I feel as if he's getting a lot of spotlight. So it's only a matter of time before he makes that transition over, like Swanee did, like Magcat has done. Previous. So
personally, go ahead. Sorry,
I do think Swanee's probably going to obviously spark some roster change somewhere out of the way.
Any ideas on what teams it could be? You think it could be, say that him and I'm not going to say his name, Mr. W from Vitality. Do you think that they could maybe switch? Possibly. You think they could maybe change position places?
Maybe, but then that would be a swap between Epsilon and Vitality. What would kind of be some roster situation? Personally, that would probably be more beneficial for Vitality. I know I've just said that, and that's kind of throwing Watts under the bus. But if you look at the Vitality still on roster at the minute, it's Tommy, Josh, PT, and Watson. Tommy and Josh have teamed with Swanee and been very successful before with Swanee on the roster. So you've got that trio of Tommy, Josh, and Swanee on that team. So
that'd be dope.
As much, I have no issues with Watson as a player. I think he's a really good player. But if Swanee swaps Watson, then again, that roster just looks incredibly strong, especially with PT backing up, obviously. Thinking about it, he hasn't played with Swanee under Epsilon, I don't think, because at I-53 when PT was at Epsilon, Swanee was in America, I believe. Yeah, that's right, because Dom was playing for that. Yeah, my mate, why am I just right? No, I'm joking.
You're just correct on everything.
Yeah, exactly. Don't ask me anything about America, because I don't know anything. But, yeah, I really think that I don't see Watson getting dropped, but in the essence that Watson does get some interest by an American team, it only makes sense that Swanee's going to be the person who swaps around and makes that space in that roster. That would be a strong roster, possibly making Vitality very, very good on paper. Well, they are very good on paper anyway, but actually being very good in practice and not finishing like they did at Gfinity and finishing much higher.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I mentioned, Epsilon, NA, the change could involve the EU or it could involve NA. I've seen a lot of people tweeting at, Parasite joined the team. When that happened, I have no idea. But, we'll see. That's kind of left open to either one of us. But talking a little bit about NA stuff that could possibly go down, I think if TK doesn't do well at the, remainder of the events, I might see them make a couple changes. It wouldn't really surprise me at all, to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of people tweeting about Envy. Should they make a roster change? I personally really like that team. If they were to, I would maybe see one person. I would say a one-person trade, not half the team being gone, because I think they're really happy with their the new young guns they have in the squad. In Octane and Aqua. Wouldn't surprise me to see a team like Orbit make a change. I know Isolation's had a lot of changes as well. And personally, the biggest change that I could definitely see happening is a trade for Rise. That's definitely not the placing that they wanted to. Having the 2 new pickups that they recently had and they still didn't do well leaves Wheats and Chino to be very easily traded or changed, to be honest with you. I think Wheats could possibly be going somewhere. I haven't heard anything, obviously, but I think that's definitely something that could go down. But I believe that's kind of going to – I think that answered the question. So based on Roster Mania, that could be the stuff that's happening. We have no idea, but still, I think we eliminated that pretty well, I would say.
I'm just trying to look, think in my head about European roster changes as well. I genuinely don't know. I don't think of a roster change. I think VWS are going to make a change, but that's kind of like one of the lesser sort of European teams in the sense that you wouldn't really consider them to be one of the top European teams. I know, in terms of IGI and VWS, I think they're both looking for rosters for the league. So, whether they pick up a team what's kind of known internationally or not, I highly doubt they will because there's no real players out there. But for all we know, Swanee could go to IGI and play in the Premiership of Gfinity. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's always a possibility.
A lot of stuff that could go down. Usually after events, we'll see stuff like that happen.
Yep.
But we're going to move on to the next question, which I believe we kind of already answered in the show, which was from, I believe, Hazard. So I apologize, Hazard. Ricardo already answered it. He said, is Envy a top 3 team or not, and can they hang with OG and FaZe? By the way, Goalie, I put another question from Twitter that wasn't in the document, so I'm just making sure if you have that ready or not. But okay, good. But still, just kind of answering this a little bit. I think Envy is still considered a top team. You could argue Denial's up there also, especially at least in the NA. But I think Envy is a very, very strong team. I think they just kind of got unlucky by playing the 2 best teams we have in the game, and them being that higher up. It's kind of it's difficult because you have 2 amazing teams kind of above and leagues above everyone else. It's very difficult to kind of compete with them. So is Envy still a top team? Yes. It's just you have that transition of how good they actually are. So I know we kind of answered that, but thank you, Hazard, and also Evan, for those questions. We're going to have the final question of the STiKS, like we said, coming from Twitter. That comes from Instinct_RT. He says, what's your guys' thoughts on Specialist and Black Ops 3? Now, do you know what Specialist is, Rage?
Yes. If it's
okay,
the thing
I'm just making sure.
If it's the thing I think it is, I probably got it mixed up in my head. Specialist being the one where obviously you can kind of get kill streaks even though you died, or is that support? No, Specialist is the one where like you get all the perks after like 8 or 9. Carry on, Goalie sighing. Carry on. Speak.
Goalie, do you want to explain it? I can explain it if not. Do you want to explain it?
Go ahead and explain it.
That was a very disappointed sigh. That was a very disappointed sigh, and I feel like a child what's just like not impressed with his parents and is just.
I'm not mad at you at all.
I think that we should actually make the thing that in the future that we should have a sigh soundboard for the show.
Like just boo. I would prefer booing.
Just have a graphic of just like Kingdom, just like face palming come up on the screen.
Oh my, that would be great, especially if it's Kingdom doing it. That'd be even
exactly
just like face palming himself.
Okay, Specialist. What are we talking about?
So basically, Specialists are. It's kind of like a certain option you can choose before the game starts. In Black Ops 3, you have different choices you can become. I think I have them listed. One of them is called Hive, Overdrive, Glitch, Psychosis, Rejack, Combat Focus, and Vision Impulse. It's just having a certain a specialist ability before the game starts, and you can kind of customize them. One of them has like a different type of... Is it like a certain... I forget what it's called. It's like a certain type of... skin. I get you look a little bit differently in the game.
The one where like the woman, like, I think in the trailer it's like a woman with a hood and looked like it was an Assassin's Creed character.
I thought that one was called Sparrow. I'm confused. Am I?
I don't know.
Right,
5 seconds ago I didn't know what Specialist was, so don't ask me.
Is that am I right, Goalie? Because this guy said Specialist.
What? Sorry, I pulled a hitch.
Oh no.
Okay.
Well, he said, okay, so I'm going to read the question.
Okay.
We're dissecting this as a team
I'm staying here. I got you guys.
What's your guys' thought on Specialist in Black Ops 3?
I think that it is a great idea, and I'm not just saying this because I only just heard of it 5 seconds ago, but anything what kind of adds a different dynamic to the game, because, you know, every year they've tried to make it a little bit different, be it exos or, you know, be it futuristic or whatever. A lot of people are kind of asking for it to be more simple, more COD 4-ish, COD 5-ish, where there's only 2-3 guns. But anything where there's a dynamic where you go into a gunfight and you go, oh, he's got a certain specialist class, he's going to be better at, say, for example, picking me off at long range, or he's going to be someone who's going to be able to move faster. It adds a new dynamic and it adds something new to a competitive edge. So, for example, if I've got a class what allows me to move faster, while the other person, you know, has more bullets or can reload faster, you know, it's a new dynamic. It's kind of like a perk, so it's good. It's kind of additional perk, so I like it.
Okay, I found it. What I read was wrong. I thought that it was, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this website for real. They're pretty credible.
It's like super
they were
Destiny
incorrect.
Going to the chat, so
yeah, that's basically what it is. But I read it wrong. That's why I was kind of confused. So the actual special skins that we know so far is Outrider, Reaper, Seraph, Ruin, and I believe Sparrow. So those are like the type of class. Like you're going to be good at one thing rather than another. You might get a certain gun. Like that one guy has those like lightning rods that he stabs in the ground. Yeah. One person has like a really powerful gun, like a handgun. Another one has obviously like Sparrow. I believe is like the shoot arrows like Katniss Everdeen walking around the map. But
okay, thinking about it, I take back my statement. I feel as if it's a horrible idea.
Horrible idea. Terrible.
Yeah, because from what I can remember from the trailer, like the guy pulled out like a gun, and it was basically like a one-shot gun, kind of like you have in Destiny, where it's like the golden gun.
Now I'm gonna take over Rage's spot right now, because I think it's a good thing because it kind of or it's a special thing maybe,
Very clever.
Because it kind of brings us that MOBA aspect to Call of Duty.
I agree.
That's what I'm interested to see. I'm not going to say if it's a good thing or bad thing right now, but I'd like to see possible bans for maybe characters or the
exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like we're on the same wavelength.
Like we decide that one character is too strong,
slide back,
or specialist is too strong, so that we can ban out those characters for a specific game, and then the teams can only use a certain amount. But we'll just go back.
It would be interesting,
you guys. So.
Oh, I can't believe you actually took me off the graphic. Better eye rage. What? What? I just saw he has better eye rage in the graphic.
Wait, what?
Wow, on the graphic he removed my image.
Oh wow, that's really clever.
That's not really clever. I'm really not happy about that.
I like that.
Took a great offense to that.
I like how you just said someone but rage just morphed. That's very funny, but I like Goalie said really quickly. I'm really happy about the specialist. If it isn't competitive, which I'm not sure how they're going to change it. We'll see tomorrow, like not tomorrow, but on the 5th when it actually happens. Going back to going to be on Twitch and kind of announcing it. I'm very excited to see the specialist going to be brought into the game. I'm not sure how it's going to work exactly, but seeing that difference, people banning certain specialist modes would be really interesting to see. I know there's only like 6 or 8 of them. I know they haven't announced all of them just yet, but I'm very excited to see all of those and how they work in the game. But thank you for Goalie for kind of coming in at random times. But
you're welcome.
Thanks a lot, Goalie. I feel deeply insulted. It's one of those things where it's yet to see whether it works or not. It's kind of like Uplink, where a lot of people say it's going to be good, a lot of people say it's going to be bad, but we don't really know until it happens. So same as Blitz as well. So it's gonna be one of those things where within the first week the whole community is going to kind of have a gauge between whether it being good or whether it being bad.
Right.
It's one of those things where if it's actually good, it's not stupidly overpowered, where everyone just uses one specialist, like that golden gun one, because they can just one-bullet people.
I think it's similar to that one gun. I forget what it's called. In Black Ops 2, it was like you could like 1-shot or 2-shot someone. It was like gray, had like a really big, I forget what it was called, but it was called something. Like the
Devastate. What about the foul?
No, it was like a secondary gun. In Black Ops 2.
You want about?
I know someone's gonna tell us in the
Advanced
chat.
Warfare, where it's like the RW, what's like the sniper pistol.
PW? PDW? No.
No, in Advanced Warfare there's the RDR, I think it is, or RDW. What is like a sniper pistol?
Oh yes, it's
Is that what you're referring to?
Well, it's
I don't think there was one
for Advanced Warfare. I would say that, but in Black Ops 2, there's a gun that looks exactly like it. I forget what it's called, but still, either way, we'll see. And I'm glad because this is something that's going to provide a little bit of difference, but it's not too much difference. Like it's a good transition, but it's not like we're going to add this major thing that changes the entire game. I think it's a little bit of difference, but it's not. It's like it's changed, but it's not that much change where you have to worry about it. Like I'm not at all worried about the specialist, movements or the specialist, things you can choose in the game. I'm honestly very excited about it. But
it'd be interesting to see if, say for example, one specialist was used for search and destroy, one was used for hardpoint, for example, or whatever.
Or if one person used specialist, like you can't have the same person using specialist. Like everyone has to run a certain amount. Like that'd be kind of interesting.
Kind of like a pro mod sort of. Well, sorry, a pro sim where it's like, you're only allowed one person with this specialist, one person.
That's the guy I was thinking of. Sorry, Executioner.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're about now. Well done, chat. You clutched up once again.
Thank you very much.
Joke.
Exactly. I didn't choke a lot. Either way, but still, I'm very. I'm excited to say the least. Just kind of seeing how this would work. Kind of like you mentioned, like a sim type of deal. How it would kind of work, and I can only imagine, like, say there was like a speed perk, or not like a perk, but person running into the hard point, or someone having a very strong anchor roll who had like something just something really cool. I can't imagine someone running into a hard point with lightning rods, just stabbing it in the middle and killing like 3 people. Like,
to be honest, we kind of had the same thing with Exos this year. Thinking about it, because Exos are basically the same thing. Let's be honest. I mean, you might have to earn them rather than being spawned in with them, but it's basically essentially from what you've told me. Unless I've got this wrong somewhere, it's basically what you told me is, say for example, if I get 3-4 kills, I'm going to earn a certain ability, what allows me to do something differently, be it run faster. But obviously, it's guns, but it's something what is unique. So I hope it isn't like Exos. I hope it's something where.
Okay, I'm gonna step in again because I wasn't listening. I was just caught the last.
Well,
the
only problem with
some other things. The
AW is that because in AW you automatically get them.
How this works is you will automatically, from what I remember listening at the beginning at the original press release, is that you will get them automatically, but only 2 or 3 times a game. You actually have to earn them from your performance in game.
Right, and in AW it's different because you automatically get, like, you enable them in the create a class section.
So, I think it's fine. I think that
I'm excited
that it'll be perfectly fine.
This question was a lot longer than I intended it to be.
Yeah,
but
please.
Indeed. And you know, I'm not trying to force you, but time zones are a thing, and nights a thing, and sleep's a thing, and lack of sleep is a very, very, very thing. What's happening now?
So I guess we should close the show then. So is that what you're telling me? Everyone who's enjoying the show right now is like, okay, Rage wants to close it out. So
no. I would be, I'd be here for an extra 5 hours if you really want me. But to be honest, the chat would probably just seek me out and kill me if I was here for an extra 5 minutes. As Goldie's whispering, close the show.
But no, I was actually getting ready to close the show either way. So guys, we're getting ready to close the show. I'm gonna go ahead and give Rage a chance to kind of give his shout sponsors or whatever. And you know what, Goalie, you can do it too because you were in the show for a lot of the time also. So I want you to shout out things and give your outro. So you can say whoever you want, or you can say whatever you want to whoever you want. 30 seconds or less. Give shout to sponsors, whatever you want to. And I'm gonna start off with Rage, then go to Goalie, and then to myself, and I will close it out for this episode. So Rage, if you would, give your outro.
Give my outro. You make it sound like I've got a scheduled outro, and this is actually part of the outro what I've actually got scheduled, so that's mind blown. But yeah, thanks for having me. It's always nice to be on the STiKS. I was actually the first guest, unofficially. Just saying. So you know, it's nice to see Landon being here. No, I'm joking. I'm just being weird. I'm rambling on. It's late. Yeah. My name's Alex, also known as iRage. Follow my Twitter because Landon's plugged it about 50 times, so it makes sense for me to plug it at least once. So it's _iRage. I'm part of the STiKS fam, so just go on the STiKS Twitter, see who they're following. Follow everyone on that list. I think there's about 12 of us. Do it. Numbers are your number. Doesn't care if you're following a lot of people or not. Follow them. I tweet a lot of dribble, so if you enjoy dribble, that's good. I used to have a YouTube channel. I keep on promising myself I'm going to get back into it. I'm probably not, but, you know, have faith.
Wow.
Have faith. I will do it. I promise. I'm going to make a video soon.
I believe it. Goalie?
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I love you all. Use STiKS code for 5% off a scuff and 10% off your G Fuel. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Well, good job, Rage. That was a beautiful, beautiful outro. Okay, guys, my name's Goalie, otherwise known as Better iRage, head of COD Esportspedia. I stream every once in a while on Twitch. It's been really bad lately, just schedule-wise with the Pro League and everything. And I run this little show here on MLG.TV called The STiKS. You can follow me on Twitter at GoalieTV with 2 E's because I don't know how to spell. But, you know, that's the way that the cookie crumbles in the universe.
Well, your Americans and your weird spellings and your...
Well, it's okay. Hitch has 2 I's, so it balances it out. He has 2 I's, I have 2 E's.
We all turn 8.
Why have you changed the camera back again?
Because
why have you changed the camera back? People are going to see Giraffe iRage.
Because I'm... Oh, well, okay. Well, if we have Giraffe iRage, I can't deny the people. But everyone have a good weekend. STiKS will be up on... The STiKS will be up as soon as the show is over. So it'll give me like 3 hours. And it'll be up on YouTube. Everyone,
wait.
Thanks for stopping by the show, and have a good night. Landon.
Yes.
Say your beautiful outro.
Alright, guys. It's been your dude, your bro, your pal, your friend, your ally on the internet. It's been Landon, guys. Thank you so much for coming out to the show. Shout out to the sponsors I don't have yet. Be in contact very shortly. You know, shout out to all our sponsors on the STiKS. You know, G Fuel and also Discuff. They help power the show and help it go on. Shout out to iRage's Giraffe. I really like it a lot. And shout out to the STiKS fam for coming out and supporting us this episode. And also shout out to the YouTube viewers as well. We really do appreciate everyone who can't necessarily make it. To Watson as well. We kind of mentioned him.
Okay. Also, I'm sorry, I'm getting cut in. Because I always do this to Landon.
Can I just finish it, please?
Type Landon in all capital letters if you're still watching this on YouTube.
Oh, no.
Wait, what?
Just type Landon.
Oh,
all capital
that's
letters if you're still watching
smart.
at this point on YouTube.
That's
I want to
smart.
see how many of you are dedicated.
Landon, by the way. It's not with an I. So if you do it, I'm going to downrate your comment. I'm going to dislike
Landon.
Right, exactly. Close enough. But guys, like I said, thank you so much, all the fans, the STiKS fam as well. And that's really about it. Make sure to subscribe to me on YouTube. I'm making a lot of videos lately. Do it now. But guys, see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the STiKS. Make sure to be watching the STiKS EU on Wednesdays, I believe, at a certain time.
Yeah, let me just plug that for a minute. The STiKS EU, it's going to be 5:30 probably. I might change it because I'm awkward. 5:30 our time, what probably isn't your time.
It's like 12:30 Eastern or something.
12:30. So wake up early, set your alarm clock. We're all gamers. We all know we like Alliance to about 2 p.m. So set it up early because you get to see me. And the off chance that you liked me, you probably didn't like me. But we also have a Ginger. So if you like Tommy, Tommy's a nice guy. So go see that. We're gonna have a guest. It isn't officially announced, but it should be a good show.
We
Obviously,
have a guest.
It's me. I'm sorry, I had to say it. It's
Whoa, Landon, we haven't announced it. No, but we're going to have a guest, so obviously, stay tuned for that on the STiKS Twitter. I should probably, let the producer know who the guest is. And yeah, check that out.
Boom. Nice. I like that. By the way, everyone's spelling my name wrong in the chat right now. If I had the emotes, I would definitely spam the Landon facepalm one right now.
It's okay. I'll do it for you. I got your back.
I know listening viewers are probably really mad right now. But guys, thank you so much for watching the show. We will see you guys next time. And like I said, it's been the STiKS Live. See you guys later. Have a great night. Have a wonderful morning wherever you are. And I love you, but I don't love you. Take it easy.
I love you.
Boom.
I love you. I rage love all round.